Roach King in the building, but he's not a roach on a rock. Is he a roach on the boat today? Roach on the boat?
That's right.
Roach
That's right.
on the boat. Roaches
It
do
is.
live on water, folks, in case you did not know. At least this roach does. I'm just
And
impressed that you have the service out there.
I know it's kind of
Incredible.
tough right now.
Yeah, it's incredible. Hey, either way, man, it is so great to see your face, my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time. My God, Stephen, what a difference a week makes, eh? This is a much different
Unbelievable.
conversation than we were having a week
Oh,
ago.
a little bit. But I mean, that's. I've been talking to a bunch of people, since Saturday night, and they're also the same thing. Where has that been all year? Like that's what we expected, and hopefully that's the I guess the deal. Hopefully, moving forward, that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
that was impressive. That was
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, Stephen, let's go ahead and dive into it because when it comes to great games at the quarterback position at the University of South Carolina, we've seen some great performances. And obviously, yours against Alabama in 2010, one of the all-time legendary performances. That game that Spencer Rattler had on Saturday night. I mean, I will just say, and I know you'd agree, one of the all-time great performances we've ever seen from a South Carolina quarterback. I mean, it was evident early. He was on, and I mean, obviously, again, you've been in that position where you're just feeling it, man. It's everything's clicking. You're hitting every throw. I mean, you're just throwing darts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Everything. The game's almost moving in slow motion. A lot of people, again, have compared it, and I tweeted it on Saturday night. This is Stephen Garcia's 2010 Bama game. This is Spencer Rattler's version. What you saw from him Saturday night, again, a magical night for QB1.
Oh, for sure. That's, again, like I said before, that's kind of what we expected. When he got here from Oklahoma, I mean, everybody knew that he had the talent. That was the first time all year that I've seen him look like he was a Heisman contender, if that makes sense. He was lowering his shoulder down. He was making plays, talking shit. That's what we needed to see. That's what we got to have as a QB1. So that was the most impressive thing, in my view, was just how confident he was. And like I said, it finally started clicking. So hopefully we can continue that on and beat Clemson's ass next week.
Yeah, and it felt like when you watched Spencer, Stephen, that he played, the execution obviously was better, but played a little bit more free, a little bit more loose. Not as you didn't see as much check with me, I feel like, and snapping it with 5 seconds. It felt like a much more loose, free type of attack and gameplay. And I thought the tone, Stephen, and again, I label myself slap dick of the weekend because I was in the stadium that first drive. It's 4th and 6. I'm like, yo, kick the field goal. They're like, hell no, we're going to go for it. They get it, score a touchdown, rest is history. And I thought that really set the tone.
Oh,
and it
for
said,
sure.
Hey, we know that field goals aren't going to be good enough to beat Tennessee. We're a huge underdog. We're playing with nothing to lose. Like Cam Smith said in the post game, we're letting our nuts hang. That's what we're doing. And we're just going to see what happens. And, that was the attitude and the attack all night, from both sides, but certainly offensively. And I mean, it paid major, major dividends.
There's no doubt. That's a huge confidence booster. I think, if we don't get that 4th down, I think we might have a different ball game.
Yeah.
But yeah, you set the tone like that, and that opening, I mean, that's, let your nuts hang, man. I mean, that's how you got to do it, especially when nobody's giving you a fighting chance in hell of winning the game. What do you have to lose? Everybody's expecting you to get your ass whipped.
Yeah.
So that was one of the most impressive wins I've seen, in the history of South Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny, man. This, Saturday night and this week, and people drawing the comparisons between what you guys did in 2010 and then that game on Saturday night. Did you were on the sideline, correct? I know you were in the stadium, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just for a minute though. Had the kids.
Did it remind you of that day at all? Like, I mean, I know it was a little bit different, but like, did it feel similar in any type of way? Or I mean, I know you guys weren't 3 touchdown underdogs, but
yeah, and it was fucking freezing. So that's all I really remember of that whole deal. But yeah, man, it was rocking and rolling. That was a fun time right there.
Yeah. Well, and like you mentioned, Stephen, on the offensive side, the question turns to, once the dust settles, is where has that been all season? Like, why
we scored 6 points against Florida the week before. Then it's baffling.
And not even an offensive point. It was special teams.
It is special.
What even an offensive point? I mean,
it's
like,
insane.
what when you watch that game, you watch the film, everything. Like, what was so different? I mean, what was so glaringly different?
I think they were just letting their nuts hang, man. I love that, that quote. They were playing without, they were playing loose, if that makes sense. They weren't, trying to press. It wasn't doing the check with the medial, snapping it with a couple seconds left on the clock. That was just as carefree a game as I've seen them play all year.
Yeah. Dude, this feeling today, man. We talk a lot about the atmosphere and Willie B, and sometimes I think we talk about home field advantage a little bit too much, but there is just something to be said, bro. When you play at Williams-Brice Stadium at night, all bets are off, bro. I just, I have egg on my face today. Gladly, I label myself against Slapdick of the weekend for my pick and my thoughts going in the game. I don't know if I'll ever doubt South Carolina football in a night game at Willie B ever again. I don't know that I will.
Yeah.
I really don't.
It is a different place. That is for damn sure. Those people were getting after it, man. It was awesome. It was really, really fun.
Yeah. And these, really, I would say at this point, Stephen, the signature win for Shane Beamer, when you talk to folks in the building, just from your vantage point, what it means for Carolina football, man, too. I mean, again, the work's still not done, long way to go, but again, the difference a week makes, right? Last week, people are doubting Beamer, calling for this, that, whatever, and maybe they're starting to doubt Shane a little bit. Then you get this win. And last year, Florida and Auburn, they were big wins. The UNC win in the Dukes Mayo Bowl was big. Beating Kentucky and Lexington, that was big for, because you hadn't beaten them there in a decade. Snapping the streak over A&M, that was big. But to win the way you did against Tennessee.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, the way you did. I mean, every other win, what's crazy, Stephen, is like people, it was an upset, right? Based off Vegas, based off rankings. But normally in an upset, you see like there's a bunch of turnovers or special teams, and the other team wins by like a last-second field goal, and it's oh my God, look at this massive upset. The stars aligned.
Right.
Carolina's the one that played like the 23-point favorites. I mean, that was such an emphatic victory, an emphatic result. Just huge for Shane Beamer in that program, man.
Absolutely. And I saw the video of, the South Carolina posted or whatever. Coach Beamer sitting up, right in front of the locker room. And I mean, you could see how fired up he was.
Yeah.
I mean, how emotional he was. And that was his indescribable win for them. I think it definitely bought Satterfield another year.
You think so?
Just calling it how I see it.
Well, that's the question, Stephen. And I'm not. Listen, I'm not going to go on some wild witch hunt or something. It's like, who was calling the plays? And Beamer has implored, that it was Marcus Satterfield. I mean, I will say this, just hypothetically, of course, it is Clem Sucks this week. Clem Sucks week this week. We've got that team from the upstate this weekend. I mean, I will say, if you have another impressive offensive showing, hell, and I'll say this, by the way, I'm a man of the people, but if you have another big offensive showing, I don't give a damn who the OC is, Stephen. We just want to score points. I don't hate Marcus Satterfield. I hate not scoring points. So whatever Beamer decides, you got to back and you got to rock with. But whatever they did on Saturday, I mean, that's got to be the plan, man, right? I mean, it
for sure
makes sense. It's got to be the plan.
So now it's just becoming consistent. Now you set the standard. Now everybody's going to expect you to score 60+ points. And, they have the talent to do it. I think that's what everybody's so frustrated and pissed off about, is that they have the talent. Yeah. They have the coaching. They have everything in the right place. Just got to get consistent with it. That's the main thing. That's all everybody wants.
And you saw that talent shine on Saturday night, man. I mean, guys like, dude, Antoine Wells. You talk about Spencer Rattler. Antoine Wells was kind of his version of Alshon Jeffrey in a way, like that type of game that he had. You saw Dak Joyner making plays. You saw Jalen Murray. You saw Amarian Brown. You saw Jaheim Bell being utilized and making plays. Juju McDowell, like you mentioned, they've got the playmakers, man. It'll be interesting to see if they can get that consistency and build that up. And I mean, just everything clicked, man. And I thought let's give credit to defensively, Tennessee.
That's another very underrated thing. Yeah, the defense played freaking lights out.
Everything they've done this season, and I thought that was a great performance by Clayton White's squad.
Oh, for sure. Anytime you can hold, that kind of offense to 33 points or whatever it was, I mean, that's a good damn day right there, because that is, one of the most high-scoring offenses in the country. So, to the way that we won, man, is just that's what we're going to expect from now on. And hopefully we can, hopefully we don't next week drop a freaking egg, be all confident and shit and get our asses whipped. So I'm hoping that this was the little stepping stone for us, so we can turn this thing around.
The launching point.
Yeah, exactly.
It does feel good though, Stephen, as we sit here in the present moment to dance on Tennessee's graves a bit. I wouldn't have even blamed you if you had Rocky Top playing on the on the boat there. That would have been, yeah. I wouldn't even blame you. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Got people smoking the Vol Pack all Saturday, and it's great. It's just great. Because I tell you, man.
If I never hear Rocky Top again, I will not be upset. I fucking hate that song. It's the worst song. It's so stupid. It's terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, Stephen, like Gamecock Nation, things it's just like any other, right? We're passionate and things get pretty chaotic, pretty hectic when things aren't going well. But I tell you, after a win like Saturday night, I'm biased, but I'd argue that there isn't a more fun group of folks than Gamecock Nation, man. I mean, it's just, and so I'll ask you this. You make that great point. You make that great point about consistency. And I guess maybe it's a little bit different because you guys were playing Kentucky the following week and not Clemson. And I said earlier, like, if you need somebody to get you fired up for Clemson, you need your pulse checked. But, right. Because we're able to as fans, right? Like, smoke the Tennessee pack all week. We're celebrating. We're dancing around. We're going crazy. How does this team now? What's the approach in practice? How do you, because you've got to be able to flush the bad and the good. Yep. You have to be able to flush both.
100%. I think Coach Beamer's going to have these guys locked in. I don't think, like you said, if you can't get fired up to play against a rival that you haven't beaten in a long, long time, you're in the wrong industry. So I'm thinking he's going to have these guys locked in and fired up, and I'm definitely hopeful. I'm a hell of a lot more hopeful now than I was, a week ago.
Indeed, Stephen. With that being said, it is Clem Sucks week, and let's make one point very clear, okay? For all of the crayon eaters that will inevitably flood the comments and the mentions on your commentary, and let's just make it very clear. Stephen Garcia, 2-0 as a starting quarterback against the Clemson Tigers. Let's just get that out there so everybody knows ahead of time. But Stephen, on that note, rivalry week, it hits a little bit different. I know you were a Florida guy. How quickly did the rivalry sink in for you? What was kind of your first experience to like, oh, we absolutely hate these guys?
I think just leading up to that first week, my redshirt year, they came into Columbia and ended up beating us pretty big. And I was like, man, these guys, I can't stand this shit. I can't stand the fans. I can't stand that ugly ass orange color. Like, this sucks. So it's actually funny now because I'm like friends with Taj Boyd and a couple of other, former Clemson guys. So, it's a little bit, it's a little more tolerable now. But back when I was playing, man, I wouldn't piss on fire to put them out, So,
I love
but
it.
Yeah, I mean, you get a little more mature in your age, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a big week.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's every week though. Every week's a big week.
Yeah, and I know Coach Spurrier did a great job approaching it that way, right? It's just another game, nameless, faceless opponent type deal, but it does hit different. And I'll ask you again, taking on Clemson as the starting quarterback. 09 was, and we talk about signature wins. That was a huge win for Coach Spurrier and for you guys, and ending the season that way. And it was a blowout victory, right? And in 2010, y'all just went into Death Valley and beat the shit out of them, which was so sad. Beamer ball actually showed itself in that game. I think it was a high snap or whatever the hell it was early on the punt. But talk about those two games, if you will, just favorite memories from those. Again, both blowout wins, and you had really good days in both of them.
Yeah, I remember the first year, 2009. I ended up getting sacked, and one of the kids, I forgot who the hell it was. He tried stepping over me, and kind of looking down, and I freaking did this an alligator death roll, and freaking almost tore his leg apart. So that was one of my favorite memories. I don't think he ever did that again. But yeah, man, I think just the whole week leading into it, historically they've been beating our ass. So getting a chance to go out there and beat them was just the way we beat them was awesome. Especially beating them in Greenville or Clemson, whatever city they're in.
Yeah. Nobody outside of the state of South Carolina can point it out on a map. Whatever. That's neither here nor there. How much, Stephen, have you been able to see or watch any of Clemson this year? A little bit of Clemson football, or no?
No, I watched because one of the kids I trained plays at Notre Dame, so I watched that game a little bit, which is a great game to watch. Hopefully, Clemson looks like that against us as well. But that's really the only time that I've watched them.
Yeah, and I feel like, Steven, I know you would agree, and you know, Vegas is saying whatever. I'm not even going to talk about it on today's show, if you will. But I almost feel like, Steven, and hear me out on this. I feel like this game is more about us than about Clemson because, like you said, the standard's been set now offensively, and that's what I think the game's going to come down to. Like, which South Carolina offense is going to show up? Is it that continuous? Let your nuts hang, play free, play loose. Can you find some consistency there, or do you revert back to kind of your old ways? Like, I feel like it comes down, and again, give credit to Clemson. They've got an elite defense, but they've had struggles offensively. I mean, the over-under in Vegas set at 47.5. They're expecting a lower scoring game. So I think it's a game where, you know, if your offense shows up and you're able to play the way you did against Tennessee, and again, Clemson's defense better than Tennessee's, but I think a lot of it, most of this game comes back to what South Carolina offense rolls out there. And if it's the version we saw on Saturday, I think it could be a very fun afternoon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did they say what time the game's at? By the way,
it's a noon. It's a noon kick.
Oh God,
at Clemson.
that sucks.
Yeah, it's a noon kick. So we will have to snap a streak, Stephen. We are 7-0 in night games, 0-4 in day games.
Yikes.
I mean, I don't know why that's the case, but there you go. So.
Yeah, that's the noon games are no fun. Especially against your rival. Like, why the hell would you schedule that? But anyways, yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping that was the launching pad, like we've been saying the whole year. That's what we expected the entire year. So, you know, better late than never. But we just got to do it again. We have to do it again.
Yeah, for sure. Steven, I appreciate you taking the time as always, my friend. I know you're on the boat celebrating. Hey, great day to have a day, my guy. Horrid day to be a Tennessee Vol, cocky top to the freaking moon, beamer ball to the moon. Steven, always a pleasure. I appreciate you, my guy. Hey, enjoy the win. I know you are, like all of us, and excited to see what Saturday holds as the Gamecocks go into the Rivals Stadium.
Yes,
friend.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hell
I
yeah,
appreciate
man.
you. Yeah, man.
Absolutely, guys. We'll see y'all.
Yes, sir. Take care.